Hey guys, welcome back to the Kid and Dad Show. I'm Kid, and
I am Dad.
today we are talking about Kenya. Where is Kenya? Find out after this.
Kid Show. Subscribe. Kenya is home of the Masai. Kenya is a country located in East Africa with Ethiopia and South Sudan in the north of the country, and then it has Uganda on the west of the country, Tanzania on the south of the country, and Somalia, and finally with the Indian Ocean on its east. So it's a country that's really, really interesting and has a how many people live in Kenya?
48 million, almost 10 million more than Canada. I mean, in
You mean California?
California.
Yeah. So it has the state in the United States that has the closest population to Kenya is California, but California has about 39.7 million people that live in California. Kenya has 48 million, so a little more than California does. And the size of Kenya is about 224,000 square miles, which is almost as big as the state of Texas. It's about 37,000 square miles short in terms of land mass to actually be the size of Texas. Now, of course, in Kenya, they speak different languages. And what languages do they speak in Kenya, kid?
They usually do English, but most of the people there speak Swahili.
Right. So English is the official language, as is with most African countries. There's an official language because they were colonized by the French or the English, or in some cases the German. In this case, English is the official language and they speak Swahili. In terms of the climate, it's really tropical along the coast of the country, but it's actually dry if you go inside the country. You find that the climate is a little more dry. And of course, the capital of Kenya is Nairobi. Nairobi is the capital of Kenya. And there are other cities there, of course, that are larger cities. But most people know that, of course, Nairobi is the capital of Kenya. Now, there are some very interesting facts about Kenya. You can't talk about Kenya without mentioning really three things. So we try to find a few facts to talk about in each of these countries. And when Kid and I were doing the research, we found that you have to talk about the great wildebeest migration. So that's if you've seen some TV footage from Africa, they show the great wildebeest migration, where wildebeest between July and October will try to cross from Tanzania into Kenya. And it's amazing to see. You have thousands and thousands of wildebeest and zebra that actually cross over and go into Kenya. And if you don't know what a wildebeest is, they look like almost look like buffaloes.
Yeah,
Yeah,
buffalo.
buffalo. Yeah, we can throw a picture up, somewhere on the screen here.
And a deer. It does look like a deer.
Yeah, it does look like a deer, and it's actually they're also known as a gnu. So it's GNU is also a name for a wildebeest, and they can run up to 50 miles per hour, which is amazing, and they can weigh up to 290 pounds. And as you can see on the picture here on the screen, they look a lot like a buffalo, or in some cases, maybe a cow in some cases. And the wildebeest cross into Kenya, as I mentioned, and they go into that Masai Mara Reserve, which is very popular. And another fact that I need to mention about Kenya is safaris. People pay a lot of money to go to Kenya to do safaris. And what are safaris? Safaris are basically excursions where people got on in cars and then they go into the reserve, the Masai Mara Reserve, and they watch for animals like lions, giraffes. What other animals do they see? There's,
Uh, wildebeest?
yeah, there's wildebeest.
Huh.
Yeah, leopards, lions, elephants, and hippos. So they see a lot of wild animals when they go on a safari. Now, the other fact is we have to talk about this fact, which is if you go to Kenya, you will see the the Masai actually men jump. So that is a ritual. It's a coming of age ritual that they do where they jump and jump very high, and the highest you could jump,
Oh
the
yeah.
yeah, obviously you remember that when we did the research and saw the videos on that.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, so it's awesome how high they can jump. Now let's talk about food. You can't have a Kid in that episode without talking about food, of course, because culture is important, languages, but we also have to talk about food in each of those countries. In Kenya, they have, of course, many, many wonderful foods and dishes. We are going to mention some of the most popular ones, which is the first one is ugali, which is usually made from cornmeal that is added to boiling water. It sounds simple, but it's delicious. We're going to put up some pictures
Oh, no
so you
fair.
can see. But,
I'm
yeah. And then,
hungry.
of course, they have idio, which is mashed potatoes, which is actually mashed peas mixed with potatoes. So it's kind of a mix of mashed peas and potatoes, which is also delicious, if I may say so. All right. And then the final food item that we will mention is githeri, which is beans and corn. Now, it's a Kenyan dish that consists of boiled beans, corn kernels, and possibly with with a mixture of a little bit of vegetables. So they mix all that together, and that gives you githeri. All right. And Kid, what do you want to say about Kenya before we wrap up shortly here?
Kenya is one of the most amazing countries in Africa.
Yeah, it is really one of the most beautiful and greatest countries in Africa in terms of just the diversity in the population and what you can see, the fauna and the flora. So fauna meaning animals, flora meaning the plants and the vegetations. Of course, so if you have a chance to go to Kenya or go to safari, certainly do it. It's a great thing to do, and you get to see lions and elephants and giraffes and wildebeest and zebra and lions and leopards and hippos and so on and so forth. All right, so that brings us to the end of our show. Kid, anything you want to say as a final wrapping up?
hmm Make sure you subscribe with post notifications and like the video.
Yeah, subscribe and hit the bell so that you can get notifications on the next episodes that come out. And that is our episode for today. Until next time, ciao.
Goodbye.
Bye.
What do you mean?
Ciao is Italian. All right, bye, guys.
Okay, bye.
So they speak.
Swahili. 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 Okay, Swahili.
Okay, now let's talk about food. Of course, we can't do a Kid in that episode without talking about food. Food.
Why did you just smack that?
Uh, it was an accident.
Are you sure?